Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Busted Knees and Pretty Trees podcast. Thanks for joining us. I am Travis J. White. We are coming off of a finely crafted, well-oiled Who is Most Likely episode hosted by our very own Patty Richardson, where Brad and I came to a consensus on more things in 30 minutes than we have in the past 30 years. Solidarity reigned despite Patty's efforts to rip apart a tried and true friendship. Last week may have been our most unhinged episode yet, but it brought tons of joy and laughter, and we loved it. Take a listen if you haven't. This week, we're going to peel the onion. We're talking gear and we're talking layers. Back in episodes 23 and 24, we gave backpackers the lowdown on outdoor clothing to be considered from the waist down. Today, we're going to flip it and reverse it. We're heading from the waist up. Lots to cover there. Plus, the News Panther has brought us some more fascinating findings from the great outdoors. But first, I want to shout out a former guest on the show who just turned 10 years old.
Yeah.
Sebastian Richardson.
Yay!
Happy birthday from the podcast, young man.
Nice. Happy birthday, kid. I love you.
So after my big victory on last week's show, I'd like to do a little debrief, a little after-action report, if you will. Patty, being the host and crafter of the Who is Most Likely episode, trying to pit Bradley and I against each other. How did it fit your expectations? How was it?
I thought, I listened to that episode like 3 or 4 more times, and it makes me laugh hysterically. We were in the car laughing our butts off on the way home from vacation.
Which we'll talk about later.
Yeah. And
in another episode.
Yep. I'm not sure how I thought that episode would go, but I can definitely tell you that it wasn't that way. But I'm also not sure what I was expecting, because if you guys would have said each other, then that's a good thing for the game, because you guys are most likelying each other. But then if you guys say a single name, then one person's agreeing, which isn't necessarily what you want. I think the way I pointed it out in the episode was I found it to be hysterical that you guys would blame each other, exactly what I want, but then also agree with each other. And that's exactly what I didn't want. I wanted you guys to be like, well, no, it's definitely you, idiot. And then I would have to stop and be like, boys, settle down. Let's move on to the next question. And there was no settling down.
I was anticipating the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, because normally I'm one to argue.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I was thinking there's no way Brad's not going to want to argue something.
Yeah, me too.
But he was very agreeable.
It was just absurd. But also the most fun I've had down here. I say that every week.
Yeah, that's true. It is fun every single week. So how's it feel to not win, Brad?
I'm just now finding out that I didn't win.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There was no points given.
Well, I mean, we kind of know, though.
As far as I understand it, you guys both won, and then now we're tied.
1-1. Travis, Patty.
1-1-1.
Oh, yeah, that is right.
But there wasn't supposed to be winners. I just want to point this out, that I'm being an exceptionally gracious host.
Kindergarten soccer? There's no winners?
Again, stolen another win from me.
Yeah. Oh. The News Panther is back yet again.
Yeah, I heard he's got some pretty good stories this week. What's up, Brad?
Yeah, dude. Let's do it.
And both of the stories this week are going to kind of piggyback on last week's story about spring.
Yeah.
All the things that are happening in spring. So I came across 2 good articles that are almost kind of like PSAs, but they're also good. They have a lot of good information. The first one is dealing with the Congaree National Park announcing the details for the 2025 synchronous fly viewing permitting process.
Let's go. Firefly viewing?
Yeah.
Where is Congaree?
So Congaree is in the Midlands of South Carolina. It's not coastal. It's not mountain, like the upstate mountain.
The Midlands.
It's kind of like a swampy marsh national park.
Dude,
okay.
I have heard about this before, and I'm unbelievably excited for you to share it with everyone else, because it is on like number 20 on my bucket list to attend this.
Yeah, like the story caught my eye because you told me about it.
Oh,
so that's when I was like, oh, well, shit, we got to talk about this.
Yeah.
And also, I want to go there because normally when I go back to visit Charleston, like see friends, it's in May.
Yeah.
And May is when this happens. So, like, I feel like in the next 5 years, I'm going to go see
I'm on
this.
the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
So synchronous fireflies, they gather in a swarm and they flash their, I think they are mainly green lights, but I've seen some articles that say like there's red and blue as well.
Blue, yeah.
Lightning bugs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of us
Otherwise
call
known as
This
lightning
only gets
bugs.
better, dude. Only gets
Yeah.
better.
But they're called synchronous fireflies because when they're in like a swarm,
Swarm would be good.
they all turn on and off at the same time.
Yeah, they're conversating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which we'll get into that. I have some info on why they do it.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's expected to take place between May 14th and May 21st. The park announced a lottery system for the public to witness the Firefly dance. The lottery will open at 10 a.m. on Thursday, April 3rd, and will close at 10 a.m. on April 9th. So there's only 1 week where you can apply to get lottery tickets. And it seems like they're super, super strict about like how many people can come in. It's 1 entry for a permit per household. A vehicle can only have 8 people, like no more than 8. No RVs, no like nothing bigger. I think it has to be able to fit in a normal parking spot. But then like when you're out, there's all kinds of rules. No cell phones out, like no light source. Like if you have a flashlight, it needs to be pointed straight at the ground.
Yeah.
Or red, like the red
Right.
headlamp, that you can
filter on
do.
there.
Just like there's a bunch of rules you have to follow while you're out there. Just because this is such a unique thing, and there's only a small handful of places in the world that have the exact perfect conditions to where that allows the fireflies to do their mating ritual.
And this happens at the same time every year in the same place?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
In South Carolina?
Because it's like moisture levels, how much, like how wet the soil is, the temperature. Like there's a lot of factors that have to be right for this to happen.
Yeah, and I don't believe it's just Congaree. We talked about it off air. It's a couple other places because the valley that I always heard about it happening, I think, was the Smokies.
Yeah, it happens in the
okay.
Smokies.
But when you take the bus up, you get to look down onto this valley, which is the stories I've always heard of, is this valley just lighting up in all these colors and hundreds of thousands of these insects, conversating. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, we're talking like if you were to look up photos of this, like Google synchronous firefly.
Yeah, I'll post some for sure.
Yeah, like there's some where in some parts of the world they go up into trees. This may or may not happen in the U.S. I didn't see specifically, but like the picture I saw was in India, and the whole tree, like it looks like it's just filled with LEDs because it's just like the whole tree's glowing.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
I've never seen photos here in the States where the trees are glowing.
Yeah.
But it's more just like this sporadic blanket of colors going on.
Yeah.
And it sweeps the valley floor. You know what I mean? Like it'll be from the left end, some insect is like, ooh, wiggle butt. And then it lights up and then
Like a
in
wave
a
at a
wave
stadium.
across the floor.
I
Some of them.
have theories on why that happens.
Lay it on us. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Let me
I'm jazzed about
backtrack
this.
a little. So there's over 2,000 species of synchronous fireflies worldwide.
What?
There's only 3 of them in North America, so pretty limited.
So are the ones here in Northeast Indiana, are those synchronous fireflies?
I think so.
Are they just are there just fireflies?
I think I meant to look this up, but I think it is like it's all they kind of spread once they get done with this, then they kind of spread throughout the country more. I know definitely
And
up
they're not so
the East
synchronous?
Coast. Yeah, it's just their mating ritual.
Okay.
So both male and female adults illuminate an abdominal organ which flashes a specific pattern until the males flash the specific pattern until females respond with her flashing signal. The male flashes 4 to 8 very bright flashes over 2 to 4 seconds, but then it goes dark for 8 to 12 seconds. And like the one reason scientists think that is because they have to give the females time to respond. Mm-hmm. So all the males flash together to give the females like a dark period so that they can then flash back at the males.
Okay.
And the females flash is not as bright and as fast as the males. So to the keen eye, you may be able to tell a difference between the male and the female flashes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
the guys are always just like, hey, look at me, you know?
And even more so when the males detect the female response, a cluster of males form around that female. And then like she'll eventually land somewhere and like all the other males will land nearby and start walking up to her and they'll energetically walk, flash even more and attempt to mount the female, you know? But then like the female may not choose the first guy that comes up to her and she'll kind of just go through a few guys. And then once she chooses them, the copulation begins.
Okay.
And it was kind of funny because they talk about stages of copulation in the article that I read about this. In stage 1 of copulation, other males may try to like knock that male off and take his spot. And there may be a little bit of battling going on. But once it moves to stage 2, which I wish they would have used like first base, second base, third base, you know, so we could all understand.
I'm understanding.
But once they move to stage 2, that's when all the other males are just like, all right, we lost. Like, there's no chance now. But I think it's like their tails are meshed together, and that's how they mate. Yeah.
I think I've seen them like that around before.
Yeah, I feel like I
stuck
have
together.
too. Yeah.
Maybe other bugs too.
We used to see them way more, right?
It seemed like it.
And
yeah.
now I feel like we rarely see them up here.
Well, there's probably a reason for that.
Cool.
Yeah. So I thought, like, the next thing I thought was what makes them glow?
Yeah.
Like, how do they put off the light?
Behind it.
So it is a pretty complex chemical reaction that happens within the firefly. I mean, it's called bioluminescence.
Here we go, Patrick.
Yep, here we go.
No, I
Grab
may,
a seatbelt, Travis. We're in it now, brother.
and even I, which I'm no chemist by any means, but like I feel like if I don't understand something, I'll just keep digging until I understand, like looking into it. And even this was kind of crazy. So bioluminescence, we see in other animals like deep sea fish and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, are those waves like is it plankton? Where the waves will crash and the waves will be blue at night.
Yeah. Which I want to see that sometime too. So like this reaction happens when oxygen combines with calcium adenosine.
That's a tough one. All of that is. Adenosine
triphosphate and the chemical luciferin in the presence of luciferase.
Luciferin?
Well,
what
that
the
makes
hell is
sense.
that?
So that's just like how crazy all this is.
Why did they name it Luciferus?
Yeah. I'm sure it may go back to some Latin, Greek thing. But like what I took away from it was they have these chemicals in this part of their body. They don't have lungs, like insects don't have lungs. So the way they get oxygen is they can kind of like suck it in through their skin, and they have tubes in their skin that direct it to to this organ. And then, but then it gets even crazier because they want to like store it and not use it, but have it ready to go, you know, like on deck. So it'll attach to like mitochondria.
Oh my God.
And then there's nitrous oxide gas, which this article said is what the ingredient in Viagra is. that makes it work. But then they'll release this nitrous oxide gas, which then releases the oxygen from the mitochondria and allows the chemical reaction to happen, and it illuminates. Is that not crazy for this tiny little insect? Like, such a crazy chemical reactions going on every single time.
And they're doing it, what, you said 4 to 8 times every 5 to 8 or 12 seconds?
Yeah, 4 to 8 times every, 2 seconds.
Well, I imagine it's like breathing.
Yeah,
probably.
Literally.
But the interesting thing, too, is, so you think, not so much anymore with LED lights, but like the old fluorescent lights.
Phosphorescent?
Incandescent. The old incandescent light bulbs would get super hot because that's like an inefficient reaction. That's energy being lost to heat.
Yeah.
So when they do this, it's a bright light, so you would think there would be like energy lost through heat, but they don't really. It would burn them up if they were to get super hot from lighting their. They call it a light organ, from lighting their light organ. So it's like a really efficient, like good chemical reaction that's creating this light.
Wow,
it's pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
As a kid, I always wondered how they lit up.
Those pictures that you're showing, the trees are just completely lit up with tens of thousands of little dots.
Yeah, I implore you to follow us on Blue Sky and take a look at some of these photos that we're going to post, because they are awesome. And I think if you did, you'd be putting this at number 20 on your bucket list as well.
I can see now through those pictures. Holy crap.
Yeah, I'm telling you, as soon as I heard about this, I just thought it was the neatest thing, but I do know it's competitive. And Brad's right when he says that you got to have like a car that only fits a certain amount of people that fits in a parking spot.
Yeah.
Because I think, at least where I was talking about or thinking about going, where you take a bus from the parking lot to the actual place, and then you stand at the top of this valley kind of overlooking all of the lights and what these insects are doing.
Yeah. Are they trying to reduce the amount of vehicles to...
Probably.
Well, it's also nighttime driving.
Okay.
Like in the middle of the night, and I don't think they want, 600 vehicles driving up this mountainside.
Yeah.
To go look at this thing. And you're also talking about light pollution. Like, the joy of this is for everyone in that around that valley to look at what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And if you have a bunch of cars with headlights driving up, you're really not going to be able to, and the noise, see and experience what this magical moment is, that, as Brad or the news or something alluded to, was,
It looks like it's something out of the Lord of the Rings.
It does.
Yeah, in the park, and
real.
I know Congaree specifically closes at 4 p.m. like in this 2-week time frame, so they don't let any visitors in unless you have the permit to get in. So yeah.
Can you, just out of curiosity, could you be backpacking in that time, do a loop trail there?
That's a good question. I don't know. Because I don't know if do they even do. I don't even know if they have that there.
I don't know. I'm not familiar.
I know
with
they
Congaree.
have I know they have campgrounds, or I should say, I think they have campgrounds.
Because Papa Bear ain't gonna lie. If that was possible, which I would also have to imagine they would close the trail down.
I don't remember there being any kind of backpacking opportunities.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong though. Yeah.
You'd love to get that new camera out there. Huh,
I don't know. I don't know if I would know how to shoot this, because that you can tell they have super long exposures and slow shutter speeds. Because the stars, you can see the stars in the background.
Oh, that one's real slow.
Yeah. So the next story also goes along with the spring theme we have going on. I know Patty has thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever aspired to be the May Queen?
That movie terrified me. I wouldn't have even known what you were saying if it wasn't for the photo you have in your news story. That movie terrified me. No, I do not want to be the May Queen or anywhere around that.
So there's a horror movie called Midsommar that is about the Midsummer celebration, spring, the beginning of life,
Yeah,
cycle of life. So this story posted by the National Parks Traveler website, which I've come to learn is another great resource when visiting national parks. It's called the National Parks Traveler. Like they had this story about finding wildflowers in national parks.
Yeah.
And what time of year to go to which park. They have a lot of great information.
The National Park
Is it kind
Traveler?
of an independent thing, or
I think it is, yeah. It
Cool.
seems like it.
Shout out.
Yeah. So when looking for wildflowers in the national parks, you can find some delicate trilliums, some glorious columbines, and some flamboyant redbuds, because they're all harbingers of spring found across the national park system. Wildflowers have been an Achilles heel of mine the same way trees have. Like I've always wanted to be able to identify flowers and trees.
Yep.
And, there's only so much time in the day.
I've been asking every time I go see my mom's garden. I ask this same, like, what is that?
Yeah.
She's like, they're geraniums.
I cannot remember.
They're marigolds,
flowers.
Travis.
I can't remember.
I told
them
you
to
that
kill
for
me.
the last 15 years.
So I did we'll post some flower pictures as well, but the columbines are like some of the most craziest, beautiful flowers. That's a columbine. I'm showing a picture to the guys. That's a really cool looking
I don't even know
flower.
how to describe the shape of it.
Looks
Yeah.
like a
It's almost like a,
spearhead.
I don't know,
Looks like a demon skull.
squid.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so if you've ever, I know I've had the lucky experience of like randomly happening to be in the Smokies when the wildflower season was blooming. And if you've ever seen like these endless meadows of just wildflowers, we saw some in the Tetons when we were there.
Yeah.
And it is just like, it's such an awesome environment to be in.
Yeah.
Like,
It's lively.
yeah.
On those wild raspberries you could eat.
Oh, yeah.
Those things were
Yeah.
super good.
Some of the places that this article highlighted was like the trillium flower is a popular flower that people search out. There's more than three dozen species across the U.S., and they are perennials, and you can find them from coast to coast. But depending on where you're at, the higher elevations tend to bloom later in the year. So the like Appalachian range area, especially further south, starts in like April, May. But some of the high like alpine areas in the Sierras and in the Rockies is usually like after July. So it's something worth looking into. Like if you're going to a national park and trying to pick a date, maybe look and see when the wildflowers are blooming. And
Yeah, why not?
yeah, I mean,
Something
it's
cool to
yeah,
go experience.
It's just like an added thing to do on your hike is
Yeah.
look at wildflowers.
Absolutely.
So in Shenandoah, you can find white trilliums. Like that's a good place to go find them. Big South Fork National River and Recreational Area, you can find yellow trilliums.
All right.
And guess what you would find at Redwood?
What?
Giant trilliums.
No shit. How about that?
Yeah.
No kidding.
It's pretty fitting. So it's really cool because like the National Park Service website, some of them have maps where you can like search specific flowers or just see flowers in general and what parts of the park they're located in. So you can like kind of plan your hikes around where the
Cool.
wildflowers will be. One big one in the Great Smoky Mountains that they mention is, or in Shenandoah, like the whole southern range of the Appalachians, as far as like as late as April and into May, is the eastern rosebud, which is like a really cool tree that has pink and purple flowers. And they're the first thing to bloom. They bloom before leaves do. So they stand out
Oh,
pretty well.
That should be easy to identify.
Yeah. And some parks like Shenandoah, Smokies, they have wildflower festivals or like a wildflower hike where like a bunch of people go out and experts and training and like learning about the different flowers and all the things, the benefits that they bring.
Boy, would I like to be a fly on that wall.
Oh, yeah.
You know, out there with an expert in training, I mean, you've been doing birding now for like 3 months and you're not even close to an expert in training.
I may be like a level 3 novice.
Yeah, I know. That's a lot of levels.
Yeah.
Dude,
So I just think that would be super fun.
You've been killing it out there lately.
Yeah. Expert in training, though? What? I mean, you're the one that sets up the criteria.
I meant like they're an expert and they're doing training to the public.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I was so much more excited about the guy that's like, I'm an expert in training.
Yeah, is that kind of like a...
Well, they're probably even more excited about it than
for
like
sure.
a tenured expert.
Like the guy or the gal that still has to write like a 50-page thesis on a single wildflower.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy I want to run into and be like, what are you looking at, man? And he just goes into like an hour and a half diatribe of how awesome that single flower is.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
We're all
hell yeah.
experts in training.
That's true.
Somehow.
That's true.
And like the thing of it is too, we're all going to be in Virginia in the middle of May,
Yeah.
and Shenandoah's in Virginia,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of wildflowers in Shenandoah, and the wildflower pilgrimage I think is like the week before or something.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I may head down early.
What kind of crowd do you think
Hello.
that is?
40, 50 people.
Median age 70 plus.
No, I think there's probably a couple hundred maybe. I mean, I'm not going to put it
Who
a
knows?
boatload, but
Yeah.
I think it's tremendous. I mean, dude, if that's a conversation we're willing to have, I'm most certainly capable of hitting that area prior
Yeah.
to.
I am. And I'll give a quick tip, since Great Smoky Mountain National Park is the most visited park in the U.S., and some of our listeners, there may be a percentage chance that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
I'll give my little secret spot of where I find wildflowers, and it's an awesome hiking spot, is Travis has been there. If you search Culver's Gap on a map, you'll see like a 3-way intersection of roads, and you can park on those. And if you head east, you have the grassy balds, where me and Travis, we camped on one of the grassy balds, and they're just like bald mountains with no trees, just grass fields as far as you can see, and like great panoramic views around the mountain ranges. And in May, those are just filled with wildflowers.
Nice.
But then if you head
would be pretty
west,
cool.
you go up Roan Mountain, and it's all wooded, and you can go to the Roan Mountain Shelter, which is the highest shelter on the Appalachian Trail.
That's where those mice are.
Yeah,
Be
that's
careful.
where our terrifying tale of terror happened.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It
and,
looks nice.
and then once you get to the top, there's facilities, bathrooms. When we were there, every time I've been there, there's been somebody in the parking lot like selling hot dogs or something. And in that little like park area where there's facilities, I don't think it's officially a state park or anything, but they have a rhododendron. Did I say that right? Rhododendron garden.
You did.
And it is pretty cool. I've walked through it, and like I couldn't pick out a rhododendron if you asked me to, but I remember it being pretty awesome.
Dude, when we were up in Maine with my mom and Sebastian and Ashley, my mom's a big flower fan, and they have, I don't know what goes on.
Would she know a rhododendron?
Oh, yeah. We were driving down the road on our way to Acadia, and I don't know what it is up there, but their rhododendrons were like I swear to God, some of them were like 40 feet tall.
Damn.
I mean, huge. Like it was just the most incredible thing.
Oh, yeah.
You guys-
it was awesome to see those.
You're speaking a foreign language to me, because I just
Do you
everything
have a photo of a rhododendron?
posies to me, because my grandma, every time she had flowers that she picked from her garden, they were called posies. Hey, come look at my posies.
Yeah, a
And I
pocket
think
full of posies.
They were all different, all the different flowers.
Yeah.
though.
Well,
So
these
I
are
never really
a
learned the
rhododendron
name
when they
of
grow
anything.
like that, those. But think about that plant, like in the middle there. Think about that plant, but like 40 feet tall up the side of a house.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you,
Like it's a bush that
it was
is
a
40 feet tall.
massive bush.
How long do they stay in bloom?
I don't know. I can't even tell you. We must have been there around May. So, man, maybe not. I can't remember when we went. It was awesome, though. Rhododendrons are gorgeous, and they smell fantastic.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't remember the smell. I will say, do you know, have you ever heard of the Big Red Barn on the Appalachian Trail?
No.
It's called Over Mountain Shelter.
No.
I know, like, me and Travis started going to it, but it was all downhill to get to it, and we were like, we don't want to walk up this hill to come back.
Yeah.
But it's like a famous kind of iconic Appalachian Trail shelter because it's a big red barn.
Right.
The shelter is near Carver's Gap, and it's like I know every time I looked up doing anything on the Appalachian Trail, that was like a shelter that stood out. So it's permanently closed now, though.
Oh.
They condemned the building, and
really?
now it's no longer a shelter.
Well, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Is that what they
shame.
do with?
Bummer.
Because it's kind of the shelters. It would be just much easier to build a new one than to
Yeah.
Like a
Try
normal shelter.
save another one. Yeah.
But there is, like, in that area, it's all grassy, bald mountains. So there, like, that shelter would be just totally exposed in the elements. There's no trees or anything. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, can I just say one thing, dude?
Yeah.
I would be happy to go down early, and I just want to announce right now on the podcast what we're actually going to be doing or after we go see the what is it, Flora?
yeah, Flora.
Go see the Flora. And we just booked our Airbnb. We booked our travel times. Well, we're going to Trail Days in Damascus, Virginia. Trail Days 2025.
Hell yeah.
Dude.
And that's going to have, it's just kind of a gathering of
Backpackers.
trekkers and backpackers.
Dude, one of the largest in the world. About 25,000 people descend onto this small town, Damascus. And it seems like Damascus is exceptionally proud to be holding this event. Live music, vendors from every backpacking community or company that you can imagine are going to be down there. Farmers markets, everything for the entire weekend, May 16th through the 18th. So
we're all going to be there.
We're all going to be there. Our families are going to be there, and we're gonna have a little bit of merch for people. So if you see us with our T-shirts on or whatever we're wearing, make sure you come up and say hi to us.
Yeah.
Chat around. We would love to meet somebody that's listening to the podcast.
We feel so cool.
Yeah, we would feel so fucking cool, dude, if somebody showed up and was like, dude, we listen to you. Like, what?
Hey,
No
you,
way,
Patty?
dude.
Travis and Brad?
Yeah, that's us.
And
we'll all be in line together. I'll be standing right in the middle of you guys, just like on our logo.
Yeah.
Just smiling with it.
Same faces.
Dude, yeah, so we'll be down there. And I guess before that, we might be going to Shenandoah to do a little flower searching.
Hell yeah.
So,
I'm super excited.
Super cool.
And we may be able to watch Patty lead the AT bubble out of Damascus and back onto the trail.
Just 25,000 of us like on
Yeah.
the Pied Piper. Just come on, march with me, everybody.
Could you imagine when everybody's got to poop?
We just have to migrate further. Like poop on the rock, poop on the walk. By 25,000 people, you'd be done shitting by the time, unless you're the 25,000th person.
Oh,
It's like,
God.
guys, wait, guys.
You don't want to be the last one.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun
It's
time.
gonna be great.
Okay, the News Panther brought some heat today. But now on to the topic of today's episode, which we started back in episodes 23 and 24, where we talked about the clothing you're going to wear on the trail. But those episodes were from the waist down. So boots, pants, underwear, stuff like that. And so this time around, we got a gear episode, and we're going to do the top.
Yeah,
The layers.
seems right.
Yeah, and earlier I mentioned, peeling the layers of an onion.
Yeah.
So what was I alluding to, Patrick?
Well, I believe you were alluding to the layers of your top clothing.
Bang.
Your
Upper
base-
body.
Yeah, your upper body. Thank
Your
you, Brad.
arms,
I couldn't
your
figure that out to
torso.
save my life. Your
Your neck.
base, middle, and outer layers. Was I
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like mom always says,
You
dress
nailed
in
it.
layers.
Yes, that's right. Do you know why she said that? Which, did your mom actually say that? Because my mom was like, zip up the biggest, fluffiest coat she could possibly buy for me and do that.
No, I'm pretty sure my mom told me dress in layers.
Wow.
She grew up kind of in the country, snowmobiles and stuff. She knew what's up.
Do you
Yeah, I
understand
felt like that
why
was-
she said that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, you're supposed to say no.
Oh, no. Why did my mom say that?
When I was
Well,
little, I don't think I understood why.
thank
but
you. Thank you,
It
Travis.
felt warmer when I had more things on.
Over Brad. Well, that was probably to maintain comfort and warmth by regulating body temperature and protecting against the elements. Now, you may ask how layering clothes actually does that. And I would tell you, well, that's because layering clothing on trail is all about selecting ideal clothes that can be mixed and matched out on the trail or anywhere else you're at in order to adjust to changing weather conditions and physical exertion at like the drop of a dime. So if you get a little bit hot, you take off the puffy or you take off your middle layer. And then if you get a little cold, you put on your middle layer. And then if you get a little bit colder, you put on your outer layer or your puffy. You see?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
little bit of adjustments.
Well, I
you
think
can make.
it's glorious. And with backpacking clothing, I mean, everyone knows that they make it so lightweight, and you know the materials are never going to start smelling or anything along those lines. So layering clothing is just a way to just regulate kind of everything as you go through. Like I said, the physical exertion of sweating, the different changing of temperatures or the climate around you, like from super sunny to rainy. And anybody that's been out on a trail that far out knows that weather can change in a drop of a hat.
Yep.
So being able to just kind of throw on one extra layer without throwing on like a big giant Arctic coat that we
Right.
generally would see in the wintertime or cold weather. You don't want to do that on trail. One, because it's bulky, you can't fit it into your backpack. But two, because you're adding so much heat to that
Right.
that it's inevitable you're going to take it off fast on trail, and then you're going to be cold almost instantly.
And I think it's also necessary to have, different layers on that you can add or remove, is because you get up in the morning, you're probably going to be a little bit chilly, but as soon as you hit like a half a mile into the next section of your trail, you're going to be hot and you're going to want to take that stuff off.
Yeah, I feel like lunchtime, the first time you take your pack off in the day normally, that's like you're reevaluating, what am I wearing? How am I going to check? What do I need to change? Because this is your time to get ready for the rest of the day.
Do not wait that long.
Yeah.
I usually I'm going to suffer through some chilly legs or some chilly arms because I know I'm going to heat up real quick once we get going. And
I think that too. And I think we've alluded to it many times on the podcast when you're stuck down. Some of those campsites are right between two mountains or on the back end of a mountain where the sun's coming up. So it's just as fast as you even getting around that to where that sun's actually already showing.
Yep.
And that second you hit that sun, it's like, whoo!
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
and like
live the other
baby.
way too.
Yeah,
We'll hit a shadow. and
That's
you're just
true.
like, wow.
Man, it's crazy
cold.
how the temp fluctuates.
Well, and like the same as at your house in a valley, if you're in a valley or like in a canyon, the cold air is lower. So it drops down like as the sun's setting, the cold air is dropping down into the bottom of the canyon.
Oh, nice.
And all the hot air is going up.
Okay.
I think that's like a hunting. I think I learned that from watching something with hunting.
The News
I can't
Panther's
remember.
back. What the hell?
Well, so like you guys are talking about layers. There's kind of three main layers that you wear. First being your base layer. Growing up, I believe we called this year-long underwear. I think we all had some back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is the layer that's closest to your skin. Its primary function is to wick moisture away from your body. If you do sweat, this is going to help wick that moisture away, which will prevent you going into like having chills, or if you do, because usually when you're taking a piece of clothing off, it's because you're too hot. So chances are you're already sweating.
Yep.
So if you're wearing like a base layer that's made out of like wool or certain synthetics, that will still keep you warm even if it's wet. Like it'll pull the wet wetness, sweat off of your body into it, and then it'll evaporate quicker.
Yeah.
And still retain heat to your body. So it's kind of like, if all else fails, if it's chilly, you can't go wrong with like having a good merino wool base layer.
I think that's like everything we've been talking about.
Yeah.
It's
Merino wool.
wool.
It's the tried and true. I mean, there's a lot of synthetics and other things out there,
Yeah.
but it just seems like the merino wool's been around. It's there. The technology's there.
And there's so many like brands and companies now that sell it.
It does its job well.
And
it
and
does.
and from my experience, you kind of do get what you pay for when buying like merino wool base layers.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, like in that, maybe not all the time, but you can really go cheaper route. Like you can get your Hanes, base layer thing, but that's not what we're talking about, right?
Right.
We're talking about something that's doing kind of something completely different. It's not all about the warmth like a pair of long johns, your old school long johns. It's about wicking that sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like if you're looking at, say, like merino wool, that's probably the number one choice for most people. But say a top, if I saw a $30 long sleeve top merino wool shirt, I would be like, that seems pretty cheap, like almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
So they are a little more expensive. Like you may pay $50, $60, $70 for like one garment, but they do last forever. You don't really have to wash them as much because they also don't absorb like stink.
Yeah.
And they stay fresh longer, and they seem to last a while. So it's one of those things. Yeah.
Darn right.
Like it'll last a while. It's worth the money.
Yep.
Especially because I know I don't wear mine all the time.
Yeah.
I wear it out birding when it's a little cold, but not too often.
Yeah.
And they're kind of comfy.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
Huggy.
comfy.
Yeah.
So then you have your mid layer, which would obviously be on top of your base layer. This is kind of the one where it like helps you trap the heat into your body.
Yep.
Like I know my go-to is like a quarter zip fleece or some kind of fleece, especially for like a camp shirt. That like fleece is my go-to because they're super comfy and soft and they trap the heat in. There's some other synthetic like jackets and vest. I would love to see one of you guys pull out like a vest at a campsite.
Not going to do it.
Yeah. I don't. You're not going to see that.
But they make them, and I'm sure
No.
that they keep your vitals warm.
Not hating on vests.
Yeah. So that's your mid layer. And I think that kind of main goal for me in a mid layer is it is easy to take on and take off. Like it's something that's pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
And it is like it's like a big change. If you do take it off, you get a lot cooler if you're warming
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, I tend to wear my mid layer more than I do my outer layer. Like, I mean, granted, I think that's probably self-explanatory, but I mean, like, I wear that quite often. Like, I just, if it's not like super hot out, which is 65 or above, like on trail, if it's anywhere dipping below that, I just feel super comfortable with my base and mid layer on.
And I'll get into what I do when we get into the outer layer and jackets.
Okay, let's lay in.
All right, so outer layers, like I was talking about with the bottoms, how I always bring rain pants, not even necessarily for the rain, but as a protective barrier against the elements, wind, cold. So that's kind of what an outer layer is, like your protective shield, your first line of defense against weather. And that I think could be sun, rain, snow, wind.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Bird
Shit. I do always think when I see something fly over the top of me and I'm like looking up with my mouth open, and then after it flies by, someday they're going to...
Oh, that's all the time.
Yeah.
Those Canadian geese fly over and I'm like, steer clear, please.
So outer layer is just then it's like a rain jacket?
Yeah, rain jacket, or like think of like a winter jacket. Depending on how cold of a temp that you're hiking in, like a rain jacket, down jacket. But normally, I think ideally,
Like a real thin, kind of rubbery.
well, but
feeling.
it even could be like I just think like ideally the shell of it is some kind of water resistant, maybe not even waterproof like
Yeah.
a rain jacket, but it's usually some kind of like water resistant or like like the snow won't soak into it.
Yeah.
Kind of
It'll
thing.
have a hood.
Yeah.
So like a rain shell,
Yeah.
like a soft shell.
Like that would, that could
Okay.
be one. And I think
generally with the puffies, I always bring a puffy with me and I bring a rain shell. Like I don't consider a puffy an outer layer. Is a puffy an outer layer?
I almost feel like there's two categories of puffy jackets.
Oh, okay.
There's puffy jackets that are actually puffy,
Yeah.
and then there's like not puffy jackets. So think of like the Patagonia Nano Puff.
Yeah.
That's the jacket I wear. You see that jacket everywhere.
Yeah.
So many people have it, but it's not really puffy.
Well, no, it's
Yeah.
just the down. It's the
Yeah.
feeling inside. I mean,
So-
like it's
Just the
Yeah.
pockets are smaller.
But that jacket also, like, I don't wear it below 30 degrees
Yeah.
when it's really cold out. For me, that's almost like I kind of treat that as my mid layer.
Oh.
And if it's cold enough that I need something colder than that, typically I'm not backpacking in that weather because I hate super cold. So if it gets colder than where I need my puffy, that's because I can wear, like, even if it does drop down to like 30, I normally do have a fleece and I have my base layer, wool, like base layer. So I can do like the base layer, a fleece, and my puffy, my like Patagonia jacket.
yeah.
So where does a sun shirt fit into this?
I would say when it's above a certain temperature, the whole layering thing kind of goes out the window into just wearing a sun shirt.
Well, see, because I would say you have your sun shirt, your long-term sun shirt. So I would call that my base layer. That's still wicking the sweat from me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your mid layer where you could always put on like a quarter zip or a fleece or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
And then your rain shell. Now that I guess it does change in that, but I always still would carry a puffy because if we're sitting around a campfire or getting everything set up, or you're dropping below that shadow, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You want something warm.
If
it
it's
on.
typically if it's cold on the trail, I'm wearing my sun hoodie, my REI Sahara sun hoodie, and my I sound like a walking billboard. My Patagonia
Yeah, you do.
Nano Puff. Like normally that's if it's cold, even if it's chilly, like 35, 40, that's all I'm wearing is my sun hoodie and my Patagonia puffy jacket.
Okay.
So I think it's the base, mid, outer layer. It's like a good rule of thumb to go by, but it's not necessarily what you're going to do. I think it's also more of like be prepared to wear that
Yeah.
if it does
totally.
get cold.
Well, I think, like I said in the opening, that it's all about picking the ideal clothing for that temperament and what you could potentially go through in order to be able to adjust at any given time what your body's releasing or what you're feeling like.
Yeah.
So that it's just comfortable.
So let's go around and talk about what the three of us generally. I know Brad mentioned a bunch of his.
Yeah.
So Patrick, if you want to tell us what you bring on the trail.
So I bring generally my base layer. I have a Patagonia Capilene t-shirt for those super, super hot days or nice days, or just where I want my arms to breathe, sun's out, guns out type of thing. Or I wear Cotopaxi sun shirt. I can't remember what the name of it. It's a Cotopaxi sun shirt. It's probably my favorite piece of clothing like ever.
Yeah, they got some cool colors for their sun shirts.
Yeah, I agree. And then my mid layer is I have a Columbia little like fleece, like micro fleece, I think is what they call it. It's super lightweight, compactable, packs easily. And honestly, that's the only mid layer I've ever brought on any of my trips. It's just it stood the test of time.
It's a nice fleece.
It's comfortable. It's lightweight. It rolls up nice and easy into your dry bag in your pack or whatever you do.
Do you find yourself wearing it like that more at night in the mornings, or do you wear it like throughout the day as well?
Like it depends. I mean, because also when you're in that alpine level, like even when it's sunny and nice, like there's still, a strong breeze or a wind. So it's, for me, I like I said, I end up wearing my mid layer like all the time. The only time I'm ever going to put anything else on is if it starts getting chilly, I get stuck behind that shadow for some time, or the wind picks up, or it starts raining. Not when it's raining, I'm hiding my puffer. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
So then my outer layer, I have a Mountain Hardwear puffy that I bring, and then I also have North Face rain shell or soft shell that I bring.
Yeah.
I mean, no weight. It's the puffers or the puffies normally fold down right into their own pocket. So it's really neat. It's small.
Would you
compact,
consider it a puffy jacket or a non-puffy jacket?
It's a super non-puffy jacket. Okay. But I think it's once again that barrier.
Yeah.
Like it's that thing that when your mid layer can't trap everything in, your puffy or your puffer is going to hold the rest of that heat in that your mid layer is missing.
Yeah.
And then your rain shell holds all the heat.
Yeah.
That's
you can
why
definitely crank up the heat putting on that rain shell.
Yeah, you can. Travis, what are your layers?
Well, my bottom layer, I usually bring just a couple of, I don't know, I call them athletic t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one of them that I absolutely love, and I've taken it on a few trips actually, is a free t-shirt that I got from a local nutrition store.
Is it like
I thought that they were trying to sell me like some kind of subscription stuff, and I was like, I don't want the t-shirt. I'm just here to get what I want. Stop trying to sell me stuff. And I think they thought I was a dickhead, but they were like, nah, dude, it's just a free t-shirt. And I ended up loving
wearing
that
it.
t-shirt.
Yeah,
Is it like a salmon colored?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that shirt.
But yeah, that shirt's always been comfortable. I always take that one. And then one that I bought from Target a long time ago. I don't know. It's their
Travis,
store
how
brand.
can you just never cease to you are a stereotype, and your stereotype just keeps going.
Dude, I've seen
great,
this.
Dude.
This dude will wear a 1996 Norwell Middle School wrestling t-shirt.
We were the champions.
For when
dude.
he was a middle school
We
wrestler.
beat Belmont
Middle school.
at Belmont.
It's crazy, dude. Which is actually kind of surprising. One, you can still fit into it. One, it's not like a tiny thread at this point.
I have not grown much.
Yeah, it's just so it's if any listeners out there and you've listened to all the episodes, there's just this ongoing trend of Travis just being so far behind the game, but also somewhat with the game.
He's a cheapskate.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, still behind the game because it takes not being a cheapskate in some cases, but it also you keep up and you keep going.
You can find things that work for much cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, I have those shirts, and then my mid layer, I do have a like combo North Face. It's a puffy, like a real thin one that's lightweight, and then it comes with a zip. You can zip it into a rain jacket on top of it, so it's one complete thing.
Yeah.
And that I got at a North Face outlet store for half price.
Nice.
And that is nice.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite jackets. Like
those are
really
normally like $300+ jackets.
Yeah, I was just like, this is the only time I'll get something like this for that price. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Nice. And yeah, I've been like, I almost didn't even want to get it dirty the first trip. I just took it on.
Yeah, it's like a new car, man. It's just like, this is a great thing.
You scrape it on a branch and you're like, oh, damn it. I hope that didn't.
And I think like one thing, like I know me and Patty kept saying we wear sun shirts, and it kind of the one thing a lot of people don't think about, even when you're out day hiking, is if you're at higher altitudes, like that sun will bake you.
Dude,
like you'll get so burned.
Bake you.
So a sun shirt's basically just like a super lightweight, super comfortable shirt.
Long sleeve shirt.
Yeah, long sleeve, and it even has like the thumb holes where you can put it over your hands.
And a hood.
And then a hood.
Yep.
And the hood even has almost like a little bell to kind of go over cover your face a little.
Yep.
And they're all like what is it? UPF rated?
Yeah, like UPF like 50.
Yeah,
or something huge.
And I've never gotten, and like I know I started wearing these when I was out fishing, and they're a godsend because there's nothing more that I hate than getting sunburned.
Oh, dude, and you're just in it.
Yeah.
If on one of those days, you're just going to be sitting in that sun
And it's like,
it
then
is
you don't have to
nice,
put you don't have to worry about sunscreen.
Yeah, I
like
don't-
wear pants, wear a sun shirt,
Yup.
no sunburn at all.
Yup.
It's super nice.
You know, I don't do that, like the sunscreen or the shirts, and I am amazed that I don't get absolutely fried.
I mean, you definitely, when you come off the trail, you're pretty baked. Like you definitely get some sun. You're just like,
Maybe I'm just used
you just don't
to the
burn it. You're like an old, you got that
pain.
old farmer DNA.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just get super dark.
It's just instantly turns to cancer.
Yeah.
That's gonna haunt me in 10 years.
So how do you guys choose the right layers for a trip? Let's say it's a 5-day trip. Let's start with like hot weather. Just go down really quick what it is you're going to bring.
Sun shirt and Under Armour type of shirt, like Travis was saying, like one of the athletic shirts. That's probably it.
Okay.
Yeah, if I know it's gonna be hot, that's all I'm bringing.
Not anything, not a soft shell.
No,
Really?
I mean, are we talking like the days are getting up in the 90s?
Oh, yeah, I'm not 80, 90.
Like when we did the Blood Route Trail when it was 102.
I could have done that butt ass naked and been
Yes.
still scolding hot, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if it's because I think this starts even before this. Like I plan my trips around the weather,
Yeah.
what the historical weather is.
Yeah.
Because I want it 60s and 70s, no hotter. Like I don't even want to get into the 80s.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be a little colder, like 30s, 40s at night, 50s, 60s in the day. That is like chef's kiss. Perfect.
So then what are you bringing? You're doing 5 days on the trail. What are you bringing if the weather starts getting chilly?
I bring my merino wool base layer, top, long sleeve. I'll bring a fleece that I'll likely only wear at night. I'll bring probably 2 sun shirts because chances are that's what I'll end up wearing, just a sun shirt. And I'll bring my Patagonia Nano Puff jacket
Yeah.
because chances are it'll be sun shirt, jacket, shorts in the day.
Yep.
And it's more, for me, it's more about like being comfortable at the end of the day at camp when I'm tinkering and fucking around. Like I want to be comfortable then with like a fleece, some fresh socks. I know we're not talking about bottoms, but
No, I got you.
yeah,
I got
like
ya.
it all kind of goes together. Just when I get to camp, I want to feel comfortable.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Travis?
So in the heat, I'm not gonna bring any kind of thermals or anything like that. Definitely a pair of shorts. If it's hot enough at night, I'm not even gonna probably worry about pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. I don't even know. Yeah, because I was trying to think if I would bring rain gear other than, protecting my pack.
Right. Yeah.
But-
Because it almost feel good to get rained on if it's super hot out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all, situational. But I think around the Midwest here, if you're not in the dead of summer, you're going to get some nice cool nights. And even, by a fire, you might want to put a little jacket on. And I think I would just bring, the set that I just mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Because it's so versatile going, it could be super hot and I'll be good. And it can get, to freezing and I'll still be good.
That's almost like if you asked me to describe my favorite temperature, it would be a summer night where it's just chilly enough by a bonfire that you need to put a light jacket on.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about that time of year,
Yeah.
like in the fall. It's beautiful.
Close the segment out. I guess I don't really feel like I switch up my outfits much. I think after talking with Jonathan episodes and episodes ago, I might be apt to bring less of what I would bring. Like I think from here on out, I'll bring 1 pair of pants and 1 shirt. And then I always will bring my puffy, and I'll probably always bring my rain shell just because why not?
It's like a safety blanket.
It's a safety blanket. I think when I'm like that, I feel like I've never been hot in the mountains. Like it's just never been that. But like you said, Brad, I very much, before I met you guys, I would set up my trips for either earlier on in the spring
Yeah.
or way later in the summer.
Yeah.
So maybe that has something to play with it.
It's almost like a gamble too, because
Yeah, and you minimize your gamble if you bring those things.
Yeah.
You know?
well, and like choosing the time of year that we like to go is a gamble, because it could still be, or it could be already like freezing cold.
Yeah.
It could still be super hot. But
Yeah.
chances are, like, hopefully it's going to be right in the middle.
Yeah, and
You
you
hit
can
that
be
sweet spot.
just, humping up the mountain, just working your ass off and you're sweating. And then as soon as you stop, that cool air will get to you and just
Dude, it just
take
hits you.
all the heat
Yeah.
out of you.
It's brisk. I mean, whenever I think about like wearing my puffy, for instance, it's always like at the end of the day, your body's still a little wet from the dampness of your sweat all day, and just
and
like
that wet gets cold.
Yeah, and you're normally stopping right about sundown. It's starting to go down. It's starting to get a little chilly in the mountains. The wind might start picking up, and it just seems like it's always there. It's like, I'm off the trail, and like this, like 30 minutes after I'm done marching down a trail, I start getting chilly.
Yeah.
So it's just nice. So it just seems like I'm never gonna stop bringing those things.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that kind of leads. So, like, probably the last point to wrap this up is like packability.
Yeah.
Like you said, you want to be able to put it somewhere on your pack that's small in a confined space that's easy to get to throughout the day.
That's right.
In case, you get cold, you get hot. If you get hot, you have somewhere you can stuff it.
Yeah, good point.
So that's why I like the fleeces, these like puffy jackets, stuff like that. They're easy to compact and fit into tight spaces.
Yeah, like your hood in your pack is generally a place, or in your kangaroo pouch, I suppose, too.
Or even like just sling it between your hood and your bag.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Easily slide it out. Good point, dude.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to make that. I mean, the point of layering is to make that transition as the weather changes or as your altitude changes or whatever.
Yeah.
So to have it just right there, just boom, straight on,
Like
you're making that transition even faster.
Like my bag has that kangaroo pouch, so I usually stuff everything in there.
And because we are backpacking, the other consideration is weight.
Yeah.
You don't want to just prepare for, bring this big parka.
Yeah.
Because it's going to get a little cold at night.
Dude, not even just the parka. I mean, when you talk about fleeces, the type of fleeces we're talking about, the smart wool or, any other mid layer, those things are made to be super thin and super packable. And
it's almost deceiving.
Yeah.
Like how warm they can be because they're so light and thin.
Well, they're warm also because of the layering process. Those types of articles of clothing are made for the layering process.
Yes.
So alone, they're not, they're whatever. They're just another piece of clothing. But layered appropriately, they're made to do exactly what all three layers are meant to do. The base layer, what? Wick sweat, right?
Yeah.
The base layer, wick sweat. The mid layer.
Were you not listening?
No, I was just, I listened. I knew the answer.
I'm just joking.
But, and then the mid layer holds some of that heat in, and then your outer layer or your puffy holds all that heat in, your body temperature, everything. And then you have your soft shell. So, it's just awesome. It's really cool. 'Cause every time I think about layering clothing, I always think I'm like an animal, like I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like growing my fur out and then taking it back off and just regulating my temperature.
We are animals, Patrick.
Well, granted, but it's just so neat to be able to regulate your temperature through like a 20-degree radius with like a single layer of clothing. And it's just fun.
And it's kind of the same thing. If you nail it on a trip, it's like another hell yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh, that's true.
Your planning paid off. You did it right.
I don't know
That's
if I've
true.
ever felt that way. Like,
Because you've never nailed
good
it.
job, Travis. You brought the right clothes.
You got to put in the work to get the payoff.
That's true. All right, guys. You think we have anything else to consider?
I think we about beat that horse.
Yeah, dude. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've done the lower body. We've now done the upper body. What can we expect for future gear episodes requiring clothing?
Dude. I think in terms of clothing, there's a couple more things I want to discuss. Accessories, some of the things you can wear, hats, belts, things along those lines. And then I think in the future too, sunglasses, yeah, big time. I think I bought 3 pairs of sunglasses like the day before we started the trail, just because I was intimidated by all of them. And then in terms of gear episodes, I think coming in, the listeners can expect later for us to kind of recap maybe a little bit of what we discussed when we were new and novice into this process. Right. So I think now that we're kind of getting our flow and understanding more of it, to revisit the backpacks a little bit, revisit the tents and things, I think the listeners can expect us to kind of get back to those things a bit, give a more concise understanding of what we were talking about.
Yeah, and we can archive those.
Yep, those old episodes. Yeah.
Those old audio.
Yep, that's right.
Our original equipment episodes.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
All right, dudes. Well, I think it's time we get out of here.
Yeah.
Good episode. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Keep on sauntering.
Yeah. See you at Trail Days 2025.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.